Salam alaikum. I think I'm standing between you and a break. So, as I know it's been a long morning, so looking forward. There's been some wonderful sessions this morning. It's been a privilege to be sitting there listening. So, hopefully, we get through these next 15 minutes, and then we can have a break. And if you want to ask any questions, then we can go through. So, just a quick introduction. My name is Mark Brinkler. I'm at Deloitte. I'm a senior director at Deloitte. I have an interesting role in that I am actually the Oracle Human Capital Management practice lead for the Middle East, plus also I sit in what's called human capital. So I bring together technology and also HR, and what I'm going to talk to you about today is very much around a skills-based organization, more from a data and a technology perspective. But before we get into that, what I just want to talk about, and we've heard a number of discussions around skills today, but what I just want to do is just frame the conversation that we're going to have in the next sort of 13 minutes. So firstly, if you actually think about skills, it's actually a continuum. From a technology and a data perspective, we think about skills in terms of job-based. We also think about what we call skills awareness. But actually, what we ultimately want to move to as HR professionals is what's called a skills-based organization. And I hesitate to say, and up for debate and discussion, I think there is probably no real skills-based organizations operating at this point in time. Because what does it really mean? It means that actually your organization is completely driven by skills. You don't have any job titles, they're skills-based. All your compensation, your benefits, and the wonderful discussions we've had around welfare and also well-being are driven off the back of your skills portfolio or your personal skills. So it is a significant shift from where we have been in terms of job-based and where a lot of organizations are at the moment. But as we move forward, where we start to see, and I'm going to share some examples with you, of organizations and a particular case study of an organization who's very much in the position of starting to move to being skill aware. So what they're starting to discuss and to think about is how they embed skills, and you would have heard the colleagues from Mercer talking about leadership, how they embed skills through all their HR processes, whether it's recruitment, whether it's performance management, or whether it's learning. They're looking to really become skills aware. And once they become skills aware, then they put themselves in a very strong position to start to have that transformational change to become actually skills-based. But fundamentally, there are two basic concepts which, from a technology and a data perspective, are absolutely critical to enable organizations to move along this path. And this is not rocket science. These are things that as HR professionals we've been discussing for a number of years. The first one is our skills inventory. Do we actually know at a granular level what our organization has in terms of skills? Do we know what people actually are able to do in terms of their skills from previous organizations, the current organizations, and do we actually know where they want to actually be? But critical to be able to have that discussion around the skills is very much being able to really understand and define what is that taxonomy. And from a solution perspective, from a data and technology perspective, that's absolutely critical. I know there'll be multiple people in this forum who have embarked on a skills journey, have embarked on discussing skills, and embarked on even defining skills. That is fantastic. Start there. Start with those definitions. Build up the data. And once you build up the data, the opportunity becomes tremendous in terms of what you can actually achieve from a skills perspective. So these foundations are absolutely critical. I'm going to share an example here of the client that I'm working with at the moment. As I said to you before, my role is the Oracle Fusion HCM lead. So actually, it's not only from a technology perspective, but also from a data perspective as well. So what we're doing with this client as part of a broad project is we're looking at helping them understand what skills are trending in their organization. This is an organization going through rapid change. And what is really the area that actually they're trending? And with the taxonomy, with the inventory in place, we can actually get that data. And once we've got that data, we're in a position to then be able to utilize it. So the first point we're having a discussion with them around and getting into a granular formulation is around what is exactly the trends that they see. And then what we're then saying is let's make sure the data is accurate. So a lot of you will have implemented systems, will have implemented ERP systems, will have implemented different side systems. Unless the data is accurate and your employees update the data, then actually what you find is you can't then use it to generate the value that you want to do it. I'll give you a very simple example from a previous experience that I had. I used to work for AstraZeneca. I was the head of HR for AstraZeneca, worked across the world, initially based in Switzerland. I was looking for a very strong HR manager to work in our marketing department, looking after the marketing, being the business partner. And so we advertised internally. Someone applied who actually was operating in a research area, who actually had marketing experience from not the previous job, but the job before that. We didn't know that. And the fact that this person put their hand up and said, actually, I'm very interested in actually moving into this role, what we were able to do is match that person's skills with the skills that we defined in the role and then built the plan and the development plan off the back of it. It was a perfect fit. And this person went on to actually become a regional HR manager of an organization which had about 4 billion sales and about 30,000 employees. And we brought that together. It was a bit of luck, to be honest. It was a bit of luck, but actually the fact that we had that was really helping us. So what I'm getting at here is how do we put the skills to work? How do we, with the data, with the trends, do we really start to connect this up in a way where we can bring it into our jobs, our learning, our performance, and our recruitment? And once we have it permeating and as the foundation for those key HR processes, we can then start to use AI. We've been a lot of discussion about AI today, and a lot of discussion whether it's classic AI or generic predictive AI. There's a lot of discussions about that. But the question for us will be how do we actually use that to really support us in actually then driving outcomes? How do we actually use that skill data and actually put it through learning and actually recommend to an individual that based on your performance, based on your career aspirations, based on your skill profile, this is actually the development you should be doing? How do we also bring together the fact that we have very good data, skill information on a particular individual in terms of where they see themselves growing in a career? How do we then bring that all together in a way and allow AI, machine learning, to actually start to generate those outcomes for us? And then this client that we're working with at the moment, we're in the early beginnings. They're committed to actually starting this journey and committed to working into exploring how we do this. But it's not easy. As I said, we're moving from very much that job-based through skills awareness into becoming skills-based. And that's an essential discussion and also an essential journey that they've started to embark on. So as I finish, I just want to leave you with some thoughts on how actually you use skills to power your talent supply chain. And we can use these as questions. And I would ask you to, you can note these down if you like, or just ask yourselves the internal questions. Are you using skills really to inform your recruitment? Are you clear on what the skills are that you want now? And are you clear on the skills which you want for the future? So ask yourself the fundamental question. Are you using job descriptions? Are you using more than job descriptions? Are you using skills-based analysis and also skills-based assessment. We've heard a lot from the Mercer colleagues about that. But have you actually embedded that within your organization? Second thing is strategic upskilling. A lot of discussion, and I'm sure we'll get onto it, we'll talk about strategic workforce planning. Is your strategic workforce planning based on skills? What do you see as the skills that are going to actually be out there in the next 5 to 7 years? I came from pharmaceuticals, heavy research-based, and actually it was very good at determining what are the skills it wants 5 to 7 years, and then strategically workforce planning. Where are you in your HR organization? Where are you in your thinking around that? The next one will be about skills planning. How do you plan your skills once you've got your strategic workforce planning? How do you plan your skills? How do you plan a recruitment planning based around skills? And how do you actually bring it to life in a way which enables you to drive the skills-based organization and become skills aware? And the final 2 points here are very much around actually continuing to embed further skills within your processes. So learning as an example. I already gave you some examples of the fact that the learning can be skills generated, but have you actually embedded that within your organization? Have you embedded that within your HR processes? So I've left a few minutes here left, and I know you're probably wanting to get to the break, but there's a couple of minutes here if people have some questions. Very happy to take a couple of questions if people have some questions. Or people want to take a break now, I think. I think it's been a long morning, hasn't it? Okay, thank you very much for your time. And it's been a pleasure talking to you today, and we'll be around if you want to have a discussion around skills-based organizations. Thank you for your time.